Welcome to the Gunman Live. This is a platform for exceptional fighters to come on and share their journey with the fight fans. We have had the likes of Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones Jr., Dimitri Bivol, Ben Whittaker, Tim Witherspoon. We've had great fighters I've interviewed, but this fighter down here is going to be up there amongst some of those greats very, very soon. Listen, for those that do not know this man, this is the slick, slippery, scintillating southpaw, the social media sensation, a generational boxing talent who's on course to reach the very top. He boxes with flow, he boxes with finesse. He's a fine fighter, but most importantly, he's a true gentleman that is inspiring thousands every single day. This is Yaseen Ramsay, aka the chess boxer. Welcome on, sir.
Thank you so much. You know what, bro? That was such a nice introduction, bro. I feel like you overdid it. I'm just a normal guy, but I appreciate it, man. You made me sound sick.
Right. You're making him blush now. Yeah, no, you are sick. You are a special fighter. Let's get straight into this. Where did the chess boxer come from?
You know what? When I was young, I used to play chess with my granddad all the time, and after a while, I started beating him. Maybe he was letting me win. I don't know. But and then I started boxing and I started sparring. I started doing martial arts with Stevie Mark Davis. I started boxing. And as I was sparring, I realized the only way I was actually getting the edge on people was by outthinking them. It wasn't because I was being faster than them or stronger than them. It was because I was kind of just outthinking them. And I just thought, oh, this is similar to when I'm playing chess with my granddad. So I just started calling myself the chess boxer, and that's just how it is, man. Literally.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you called yourself it rather than people calling you it.
Yeah, and I called myself it. Normally people give you a name, but I called myself the chess boxer. Yeah.
Yeah, I called myself Gunman as well.
That's probably got a better story than me.
Yeah, I was boxing. I was a black kid living in Surrey, and I was thinking I need a bit of a scary name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's Wesley Graham, Wesley Gunman Graham. There it is. Listen, what's the definition of chess boxing for you?
Chess boxing is using your upstairs, using your mind to just outthink your opponent. Like I always say, in chess, you've got a pawn, I've got a pawn, you've got a king, I've got a king. We've all got the same weapons. I've got a jab, you've got a jab. It's just about who uses the jab at the right time. You know what I'm saying? It's all about time, and it's all about using the right strategy. And that's why I call it chess boxing. There's a lot of fighters out there. Like everyone's got a strength, everyone's got a weakness. Like you might not be the strongest, you may not be the fastest, the slickest, but everyone's got a brain. Everyone's able to use the correct strategy. You can beat someone that's better than you just by having a better strategy, by outthinking them. I know that I've probably beaten people on my way up that are better than me by outthinking them. I've also probably taken a beating in some sparrings, also in some fights, because people might have chess boxed me. So it's you always got to be thinking in the ring. It's like that's why I call it chess boxing. It's so similar, man. Like people think that a lot of times you're fighting, you're sparring, you're physically tired, but you're also mentally tired because you're having to think so much. Your opponent's trying to throw you off. They're trying to get you to do things that you don't want to do. They're trying to set you up, set up traps. It's the same when you're playing chess. I know a lot of people play chess. Everyone's asking me to play chess with them. No.
Are you good at chess?
I'm the best, bro. I'm the best in the world at chess.
That's absolutely ace. That's absolutely ace.
Cool.
How much of boxing is technique? I mean, I've always preached that technique is absolutely key. It's a bit of a sport like golf, for example, where the biggest guy doesn't drive the furthest. You know, a small guy can hit hard. Same with boxing. You know, it's technique. How much is technique based versus fitness based, in your opinion?
In my opinion, like a lot of people will probably be surprised, but I am very big. I think physicality has a massive part to play in boxing. At the end of the day, you're fighting someone. you can't not train physically. But a lot of people they just don't train mentally as well. So if you look at all of the top guys, and I'm not saying that I'm one of the top guys in the sport, like honestly, but if you look at like Mayweather, if you look at I don't know, Usyk, like physically they're also at the top level, but the reason they can stay there is because mentally they're at the top level as well. Whereas if you're just physically at the top level, you may get there, you might not stay there, or you may not even get there. So you got to have both in the sport of boxing. I think it's a tough sport. You're fighting people. You've got to be very. And also another thing people don't realize is that one thing I'm so big on fitness is because when you want to thinking takes a lot of like when you're tired. If you've ever, I know a lot of you guys are boxers, so if you've ever been tired, you can't think. Like if you spar and you're tired, you can't think. You literally you just you resort back to your instincts. You start throwing wild punches. So in order to be in order to like play chess in the ring, in order to just box like well, to have good technique, you've got to also have the physicality as well. So you got to work on both, man. 100%. You got to work on both.
Being tired in the ring is probably one of the worst experiences in life. Like even in sparring, like being tired and someone attacking you is horrendous, absolutely horrendous. Listen, in terms of mentally, because I know you coach, you coach a lot, and you're always looking to improve people. How can as a fighter, how can you prevent yourself getting shook in like weigh-ins or in exchanges outside the ring? We see so much now with social media where people get shook, where people, opponents can win before the fight even happens. How would you advise like a young up and coming fighter, like to keep their cool in the weigh-in, not let someone get under their skin or in their head?
So the first thing, and this may not apply to everyone, is obviously I'm a Muslim, so my faith plays a big part in it. We believe in something called qadr, which is destiny. Like everything's written. At the end of the day, if Allah wants me to win, I'm gonna win it. No matter what I do, like I'm just fulfilling it. I'm just fulfilling it. So you going into it with that mindset, I just do the best that I can. Whatever happens is written. Second thing is what a lot of people don't do, and I give this advice to a few young fighters that I see in the gym sometimes. Is visualization. Like visualization. Like visualize the thing so much. There's a book like called Psycho-Cybernetics, and it talks about the mind and how there's like he's like a psychologist, and he realizes how he was a plastic surgeon, and he realizes how doing surgery on people affects their psychology, affects the way they think. And he started working with athletes and stuff, and he, like, for example, certain athletes would get injured leading up to a game, whether it's the Olympics, whether it's a tournament. So all they would do is they would just train mentally, they'd visualize, and they'll still be able to, and then when the game time comes, they've healed up, they're still able to win because they visualize so much. So if you're nervous before getting to the ring, visualize it so many times to the point where when you get into it, it just feels like you've been here already. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you can never be what's the word? You can never be like, everyone gets scared, but you can never be 100% confident if you've never been there before. But if you've rehearsed it again in your mind again and again, that's one way. And then the third way is just hard work, man. Like Michael Jordan says, like hard work eliminates fear. So the harder you work, the less like there's nothing you need to worry about. You know in yourself. If you haven't worked hard, then you've cheated. So then you're gonna be nervous. So they're the three things that help me.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Anyone who's jumping in the live, I see loads of people jumping in and out. Feel free to ask the Chessboxer any question. This is a generational talent, guys. This is a three-time London champ. He is brucking up the game. He is badding up the game. And he is really expected to go on and do great things in this sport. So make sure you're following this man. Make sure you're following his brother and his online courses, which we'll get onto later. You have to make sure you buy one of them and learn from the very best. Make sure you're following Gunman as well. I'm interviewing fighters of all levels on this channel, from white collar fighters right up to professionals. Like I said, I've done like Isaac Chamberlain, Ben Whitaker, Tim Witherspoon, a lot. So we're covering the whole fight game. We do misfits, bare knuckle fighting, the absolute lot. So yeah, just support each other, guys. It's a hard sport, this, so let's make sure everyone's supporting each other. Now listen, let's talk about your style. Anyone who hasn't seen you fight, I've seen you fight. I see you. I see you, and I love the way you tap your front foot in and out to gauge your range. You're tapping man's up. You know, you're in and out. You're tapping in and out like an Oyster card. You know what I mean? You're really like in and out and in and out. Someone who hasn't seen you box before, how would you describe your style?
That's interesting. I never thought about how I'd describe it. I'd just say slick, calculated. I'd say sharpshooter, just sharpshooter, calculated sharpshooter. I try not to waste too many punches. Of course, sometimes you do. You're human, but I try not to waste too many punches. And as Simon would say, my coach Simon, sharpshooter. That's how I'd say it.
Oh, really? Yeah. Sharpshooter. Yeah, no, I'd say that's pretty fair. You know, like you're in and out, you're back and forth, but you're not. You know, you're really good counterpunching. You throw an exchange, you're out. You throw a couple of shots, and you're out. So yeah, I think that's a fair. When did you start? When did you start boxing?
So I started off initially. I think when I was about 14, I was doing martial arts with Sifu Mark Davis. I was with my boy Jamel as well. He's in the chat. Shout out Stan.
Yeah.
So I was doing martial arts then, and I was sparring. I was about 14 years old. I was sparring during the martial arts. I was doing hand sparring, and I started getting good at it. And I was like, bro, I want to take this I want to compete. I didn't really like the whole grappling feet, someone's foot in my face. So I thought, you know what, let me try and stick to the boxing. So I spoke to Sifu. He told me to find a boxing gym, and my cousin Simon, he's a coach. So I started training with Simon, continued training with Sifu because he still trains me now, boxing. And so, yeah, I was like 14, 15 when I started, 14. Yeah, man. And yeah, that's literally.
Yeah. So you've almost, you're like 24 now, right?
Yeah, I'm 24 now, yeah.
So you've done, you're almost 10 years in already.
Yeah. Almost 10 years in, man. Almost 10 years.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because, you know, a lot of people say boxing's a young man's game, but actually, it isn't really. Like a lot of the top fighters are deep in their 30s, like Usyk and, you know, Wilder and Fury and Beterbiev and Bivol. Like Beterbiev was almost 40, Bivol's late in his 30s, Canelo's in his 30s, Lomachenko's late in his 30s. Like you actually start looking, and coaches will tell you it's a young man's game. But actually, in the lighter weights, you do see younger fighters like your Haney's and your Tio Fimos and your Shakurs and all the rest of it. But a lot of these kids, like Tank, they've been fighting from young, so they've already. While we're saying they're young, they've already been fighting 15 years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's actually crazy, and it's brilliant that you've got like 10 years under your belt already, and you've already got brilliant experience already. What was your first gym? What was your first memories of your first gym?
My first gym was Fitzroy Lodge, down in Lambeth, like Vauxhall. It was sick, man. I remember I walked in there. It was just grimy, man. Like that's like your proper typical boxing gym, you know, like the typical Rocky boxing gym. You go in there.
Fitzroy Lodge. That's a famous gym now.
Yeah, I had my first 5 fights there. I remember I walked in, and obviously I don't know who knows Mark. Mark's the coach there, stern guy. I walked in, he's like, "What are you here for?" I was like, "I'm here to box." He said, "No, you're not." I said, "No, I am." He said, "You're not here to box." I said, and I started not laughing. I was thinking like, you know, that nervous. I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Where are you from?" I was like, "I'm from South." He's like, "No, I'm from South." I was like, "What's this guy doing?" He's like, "Yeah, you're not boxing." I was like, "No, I want to box." He's like, "Nah, you don't want to box." He did that for about 5 minutes. And then he said, "Yeah, get in the change room." Then I just.
Was that your first coach?
Yeah, so he was the head coach of the gym. So him and Simon, if you guys know Simon Rose, he's my cousin. He was a coach at the gym, so he was my coach. He was my main coach. Him and Sifu, Mark Davis, the one that I trained martial arts with, and so they were my first coaches, man. At Fitzroy Lodge. Yeah.
I've kept my eye on you, and you've been at Islington, box for Islington. I've seen you boxing Croydon Boxing Academy. Yeah. I've heard a rumour you're at TM now. Why are you moving around so much? You're moving around.
You know what it is?
Why?
Yeah. You know what it is? Whenever I make a decision, I just gotta make a decision that's just best for me in terms of my life, innit? Like a lot of people, what happens? A lot of people quit boxing because they can't keep up with it. Their lifestyle gets too much. They got responsibilities. They have family, and it just gets too much. So I was at Fitzroy Lodge for my first 5 fights, and then my cousin Simon left, so I decided to leave with him. He went to Islington. I wanted to go to Islington, but I lived in Croydon, and I was doing a type of work which didn't allow me to make it to Islington. I tried to go to Islington, so I said, you know what, I'm going to go to Croydon for a year. I spoke to Croydon. I spoke to them, and they said, you know what, yeah, cool. They were cool with it. So I went to Islington for 2 years. Now again, like I've got more responsibilities. That I live in South London. I live in Croydon, so it's a bit difficult for me to make that sacrifice again. It's like, especially with traffic, it's like hour and 45 to get there, and I've got other things up. But so that's why, man. Whenever like life, I'd rather just find a way around it than just give up. So yeah, man. I just always go make the decision that's best for me, man. Honestly.
So have you always moved because of geographical? Because of geographical reasons, or has there sometimes been fallouts and disagreements?
I'll say no gym's perfect. Like no gym is perfect, but it's mainly, if I'm being honest, it's mainly geographical reasons. Because even when I left Croydon, I initially wanted to go to Islington. I just couldn't because of my work. So when I stopped working at that job, I went straight to Islington. Then when I left Islington recently, it's only because of geographical reasons. Like, it's just difficult, man. Like you get to train and you feel like you've already trained. You've been driving for like nearly 2 hours. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the main reasons, man.
Yeah. Your amateur record. So those that don't know your amateur record. So how many fights have you had now, and what's your record currently standing at?
I think I've had 31 fights, 28 wins. I think around about that. Yeah.
31 fights, 28 wins.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's absolutely brilliant. Are you getting KO? Are you getting many KOs? It's hard in the amateurs, isn't it?
It's hard. I get some. Not every fight. It depends. Like as you go up the level, it's harder because guys are what's the word? They're very good with their distance. And you just need to win. You've got 3 rounds to it's like a sprint. So I've definitely had a few. I've had a few KOs, but hopefully hopefully further on I'll be getting more, man. I'll be racking them up more.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. How many? Who's been your hardest fight so far? Who's the hardest brother that you've been in with?
Every fight that I've lost, man. To be fair, there's been a few fights that I've lost, and I feel like I can't say that they were easy fights because I've lost them. So barring those ones, there was a tough fight in the nationals, and I fought Dan Tower. It wasn't tough physically; it was just mentally. I don't know if you lot probably know him, GB boy. He was very good in and out. So he beat me on a 3-2 split. It could have went either way, but that was a tough fight because it was just like a fast-paced chess match. The London finals I had was tough. Everyone thought it was easy. The recent one, everyone thought you made it look easy. In my head, every fight it was tough, man. He was a good fighter. Like you get what I'm saying. He previously beat me before. Then I beat him in the finals for the elites, London elites. So that was tough. Yeah, man. Every fight's tough, man. Like you just got to make it look easy. Do you know what I'm saying? Every fight's tough. You just got to make it look easy.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, when are you going to turn pro? That's what everyone wants to know. When are you going to turn over?
You know what? I was planning to turn over this season. You know, I was planning to. My boy Elliot turned over. I was going to turn over with him. Everyone check out Ellie Massey. He's fighting tomorrow on York Hall. First his pro debuts with Frank Warren. So I was planning to turn over. But it's just the time's got to be right. Like I'm not in a rush. I'm not somebody that gets pressured by people telling me to do things. I don't really listen to the noise. When it's my time, when I think there's a lot more for me to learn. I'm still enjoying the amateurs, and when I feel like everything's settled for me, inshallah, whatever Allah decrees, man. That's the main.
What more is there for you to do now, though, in the amateurs? Like realistically, you're not looking to go Olympics or anything, you know, are you really?
So obviously Olympics is a bit difficult because you've got to be on the squad for a while. So there's a lot more. There's a lot more for me to do, man. There's a lot more for me to do. I've only had 31 fights. There's guys won nationals, won so many different things. There's a lot of things that I haven't done yet, and it's just more about feeling that when I'm ready. But I'm ready now. But just when everything settles, inshallah I'll make that decision. Yeah.
But you still got the motivation to stay there and keep winning and keep fighting regularly in the amateurs.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Like I definitely like to stay active. Just keep the tools sharp because when you get stagnant, then you start declining. So I definitely like to stay active. 100%.
Why do you think? Why do you think so many amateurs struggle, like top level amateurs struggle in the pros? Why do you think that is? I mean, I'm just going to name a couple, just recent ones. Of course, there's Audley Harrison, Olympic gold medalist, and an absolute nightmare. Luke Campbell, gold medalist, didn't really make it as a pro. We've just seen Fraser Clark at the weekend, you know, placed at the Olympics, and Ben Whittaker at the Olympics, you know, placed and struggled both at the weekend. Joe Joyce, you know, why are we seeing so many top amateurs really struggling and only a handful going on to win world titles?
I think the amateurs and pro boxing is people forget they're two different sports. Like they're two completely different sports. In the amateurs, your main goal is just to win. You can just go throughout the amateurs just point scoring and just win. Whereas in the pros, you've got to hurt people. You've got to slow it down. When I was in Philadelphia in America, maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, and I was in the pro gym with a pro. He's like 8-0, 9-0 now. And I was sparring with him, and he was teaching me a lot. Like he spars with Jerome Boots Ennis. He's got Breadman as his trainer. He spars with Caleb Plant, and he didn't have a big amateur. He didn't have a big amateur pedigree. He only had about 7 fights as an amateur, and he just got straight into the pro style. So I think when you go so much in one direction, it's hard to go the other direction. And a lot of people make that mistake. Like anyone could make that mistake. Like I'm not immune to it. So it's just about knowing that it's two different sports and adjusting accordingly, taking your time, not getting ahead of yourself, having the right team around you. But them specifically, I couldn't tell you why they don't translate. I couldn't tell you why them specifically, but I just know that it's two different sports, man. People don't realize that.
Yeah. Two different sports, I'd say. Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's more fencing, isn't it, and point scoring. A really good point. A few of my media friends said to me, Ben Whittaker at the weekend, that was the first time that he had to have a second wind, because in the amateurs it's like 3-3s or whatever.
Yeah.
But this was the first time he needed to, in his whole career, in his pros, that he's actually had to find the second wind, and he struggled. And maybe he did try and look for a way out. That's what people are saying. And yeah, perhaps the amateurs don't prepare you for that. You don't have to look for the one punch bang. You know what I mean? The one punch bang is you don't need to load up. You can win just touch, go, touch and go. So I agree with you. Two different sports. I totally agree with you there. Couple of quick fire questions before I let you shoot off. And then I just lastly wanted just to talk about your online course. Quick fire questions, just one name answer, please. Fury or Usyk in the rematch?
Usyk.
Ben or Eubank Jr.?
Ben. I'll say Ben. You say Ben.
Bivol or Beterbiev in the rematch?
Bivol, man. Obviously, Beterbiev, he's Muslim. He's my Muslim brother, but Bivol had number 1, so he needs to get number 2 back for sure this time. Yeah.
Anthony Yard or Joshua Buatsi?
I'm gonna say Buatsi. I know Buatsi, so I'm gonna say Buatsi.
You're not meant to be going with who's your favourite. You got to go with like the boxing brain.
Okay. Same answer.
Same answer. All right, fine. Canelo or Crawford if they ever get it on?
Canelo is too big, man. Too big for Crawford.
Tank versus Shakur. Yeah. Interesting. I pretty much agree with everything you said there. I think I pretty much agree with all of those as well,
Two
actually.
years ago, I would have said Shakur, but I think Tank, because I'm starting to realise how good of a boxer Tank is.
But no one can take his licks. No one can take his. No one can take him.
Yeah, for real.
Hardest sparring partner, and you can only name one for you.
Sparring partner. Damn. Captain Hook on Mo Mahmoud. Fights for the Lodge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's his real name?
Mahmoud.
Oh, Matt Moore. Oh, right. I'll have to check him out, man.
Everyone calls him Mo because everyone just calls him Mo.
Oh, really? I'll have to get him on it. It gives you good work. It gives you that good work, does he?
Yeah, he gives me good work. We ain't had work in a while, but he gives me good work, man.
Really? That's good to hear. 30-second KO or punch perfect masterclass?
Ooh. Punch perfect masterclass.
Head movement or foot movement? Footwork.
Yeah, footwork over head movement.
Overhand right, or in your case, overhand left. Overhand left or uppercut?
Overhand.
Favorite fighter of all time?
Can I say more than one?
Go on, I'll let you off.
I'm gonna say Muhammad Ali and Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. Favorite current active fighter for you right now?
Ooh, Crawford.
If you could fight one person now, one person you can get, it can be anyone you want. Doesn't matter about money. You can fight Conor McGregor. You could fight Mayweather. You could fight Jake Paul. Who would it be? Out of anyone, not just who I've suggested.
I'd want to fight.
If you could one dream fight now, who would you take?
I'd want to fight Mayweather. Not now, how he's old, but I would want to fight Mayweather because he's so good. I would want to see. I would want to experience it. Experience the distance, the timing. Yeah, I would want to fight Mayweather for sure.
Just to see if you could even hit him.
Yeah, man, it'd be good, man. It'd be nice. Like I see him sparring, lighting guys up in the ring, and I wanna. It'd be nice to get in there and just to see the real deal, man, and to learn from it.
Yeah, that'd be a good shout. Let's just quickly talk about your online courses. So I've seen that you're doing tips for fighters, showing them how to box, how to win fights. But what I do like is that you're doing stuff like, not just the actual fighting, the preparation, aren't you? You're covering like the prep. Can you tell us or people that don't know about what you're trying to do and how it's going and how we can buy it?
Yeah, so basically, when I started boxing, I started documenting my journey online, my training, my fights. Every time I'd fight, I'd normally document it. And a lot of people just started asking me for a lot of tips, on like people would message me, ask me, how do I do this? How do I do that? And not to say that I wasn't anyone special, like people were asking me after my first fight, but there's always people what a level below you. So there's always someone that hasn't had any fights. There's always someone that hasn't been in the gym before. So it became a bit difficult to help everyone by just messaging. So I thought, let me put together a program where I can help other amateur boxers, other beginner guys that don't even know how to box, other amateurs how to win their fights, how to control their nerves, learn from my mistakes, learn from my victories, and just teach them boxing from an actual fighter. It's nice to learn from a coach, but sometimes learning from someone that's also doing it with you as well gives you a different perspective, gives you that edge. And a lot of people they don't have the physical attributes to do certain things, so they need this. So that's why I give people that. Try to help the other fighters with that. And yeah, if people want to access it, you just click the link on my bio. There's always a program there that you lot can access.
So I'm going to share that link, people, so it'll be on my story. Because you're closing it off soon, am I right?
Yeah, I'm closing. I'm actually closing it this week because it's £50 right now. But I'm gonna I'm gonna make it a bit more expensive and just have one program. But I'm gonna give people. A lot of people said they wanted to grab it, so I said I'll open it to the end of the week. Keep it open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyone watching, I'll be posting it out on my channel this week. Make sure you subscribe and buy it. If you want to learn how to win fights from the very best in the amateur scene, you need to follow this guy, and you need to be following and buying that link and upping your game so you don't get batted up. Loads of people saying that they can't hear us on the YouTube live, so I'm sorry about that. The people that are on the YouTube live, there's a sound issue, but this interview will go up on YouTube and will be up in the morning. Mr. Chessboxer, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know you've been sparring today, and you look clean, you look fresh, as I'd expect after a sparring session. Look at you, you look like a don. You look too good. You're putting us to shame. You look so good. But thanks for coming on. I appreciate you.
No, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Yeah, everyone needs to give you a follow, man. Everyone needs to show some love. And I appreciate the kind words, man. Honestly, yeah, it was a pleasure being on board.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm hoping this isn't the last time. When we're in Saudi together, I need another interview. Don't want you walking past me.
Inshallah, definitely, never, man.
I'll see you in Saudi. I'll see you in Saudi, my guy.
Take care, man. I'll see you in Saudi, man. Thank you so much.
See you in Saudi, champ. Thank you very much, man. I'll see you soon. Appreciate you.
Take care.
Take care, pal.